What have you seen with a teenager progressing into adulthood and transitioning into college? How do they fare?
So I think it's super fascinating because I think they're super prepared. They know how to think for themselves. They know when they don't know the answer to something, they look it up. They have very high expectations of themselves, and the only one setting the expectation is from themselves, not from outside, and that kind of thing. Um, but in the greater part, like my kids' transition from Montessori to high school, from high school to university, has been pretty smooth. Um, my son, for example, when he was choosing the high school, they have punishments if they're late for school. They After 3 times being late, they will have to clean the, playground or stay back or something like this. And so I explained, in a Montessori school, they would make a plan with you and say, like, "I can see you're running late and you've been late a few times. Is there something that's going on at home? How can we make sure when you're at school? Can we text you to check you're on your way?" Blah, blah, blah. Like, they want to get you to school. Instead, this punishment is like, makes kids not want to go to school. And he says, I think it's a stupid rule, but he was like never late. He was probably late 5 times in 6 years at high school because he respects the rules, and he was like, his bike got a puncture. Maybe he slept late one day, but like in the big picture, he really respects those kind of things. So I think Montessori kids are really independent, but they also take responsibility. And that's the other side too, is like, you don't want kids who only think of themselves. You want them to be able to live in society. So they've never had any issues like that. The only challenges my kids have had have just been like, what's my purpose? I really want my life to mean something. And so they're grappling with the same questions we might be still when we're 35 and 40 and whatever, those kind of things, is how do we give back? So it's not, but I think actually the skills that they have, like, very rarely Oliver's called to say, oh, like, how does insurance work again? Or do you mind helping me with my tax return? Like just some practical things like that. But like they set up their own internet when they moved out of home with a group of kids. They can cook their own meals. Like I always ask them, like, what did you cook this week? Because I was always curious what recipes they're trying out. And pesto pasta is a thing at university if you're feeling lazy. But other than that, like sometimes they really like make some really nice things. And yeah, I'm excited for them because they're just becoming more and more themselves. And usually what you see in the 18 to 24 years is they really want to contribute and give back. So both of my kids have done like forms of volunteer work in those years as well. That's part of like what those children are looking forward to. Like, how can I contribute to society now that it's not just my school environment, but a bigger environment. Yeah.
Mhm. Was it required on your end for them to go into high school or continue education this route?
No, they can. So when they were choosing high school here in the Netherlands, we went around and visited all the schools, and they were allowed to choose which high school they went to. This was at 12 years old, and then I said the one that I didn't like and that I don't approve of the values is this one. So if that's okay, let's just like not have that one. But for many of the other schools, I think they're great, and you could choose anything. So again, that freedom within limits. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then when they were choosing universities, like there's just no way I had any chance. I visited 1 or 2 with them, and they mostly went off and saw their own things, and they knew exactly what they were looking for. So, yeah, it's very interesting. They even my son chose for, doing a computer science degree, and I was like, "Wow, I'm really surprised," because to me, it wasn't necessarily something that I would have chosen for him. And, because he's, like, always been very gentle and kind and teaching um, and compassionate and interested in sciences and things, but he also loves math, so it also makes sense that he also really likes the computer science program. So it's really fun to see what they choose for themselves when they're on their own path.
Mhm. Have you heard of families where their children didn't decide to pursue any forms of higher education? And
Um,
how are they
yeah.
doing if
Yeah, so they've tried to go to university and they're like, "This doesn't work, I actually just wanna be an artist." And you're like, "Okay, let me see how we can support you to be an artist or how you can support yourself." So, yeah, basically Montessori is trying to develop every child to be the best version of themselves, whether they become the bus driver, a father, a, mailman, an Elon Musk, like a just someone who's big thinkers, Google guys went to Montessori schools, but it doesn't mean we're trying to make everyone a Google guy. It just means you have the possibility to use your skills to the potential that they'll be.